Hi guys, and as Line said, it will be recorded. So maybe if I, screw it up completely, we might want to retake some of it. So just bear with me, but let's see if we can do it in one take. And I am super happy to be here today, so welcome everyone on this DEPT Talk on what's next for fashion. I am Josefine, I'm Head of Business Development at GANNI, and I am here to talk about how we, together with DEPT, in only 6 weeks, created a award-winning virtual showroom, providing our wholesale customers throughout the pandemic, but also post with a digital immersive experience. I'm going to talk about how we did it, what we learned, but definitely also why it is here to stay. And just for those of you who don't know GANNI that well, kind of just to set the scene, GANNI is a global responsible fashion brand. It's a contemporary advanced fashion brand, and we are founded in Copenhagen by husband and wife team, creative director Ditte and founder Nikolaj Refstrups. We've on a mission to kind of hack the fashion systems from within, and the virtual showroom is also evidence of that. But we've also been redefining Scandi fashion to what we call Scandi 2.0, and it's this very personal, contrastful way of dressing with bold prints and nice colors, and it has that fun and very unexpected edge to it. So we kind of do things our own way, we march at our own beat, and we have a global community of GANNI girls that do the same. And everything we do, we really try to do with the most authenticity, honesty, and responsibility possible. So that's essentially GANNI. Then, and I know that everyone is getting slightly tired about hearing about the pandemic, but in order to understand what fueled this digital transformation at GANNI, we just need to briefly touch upon what happened when the world went into an entire lockdown. Because back in the spring of 2020, we were here at our office in Copenhagen, and suddenly wholesale managers started to call us from Paris like, our Asian partners are not showing up, they simply can't leave the country. And within a heartbeat, almost the entire world shut down. And we kind of just, suddenly we didn't have any way to reach our customer. We value our partners a lot, and we try to provide them with the best possible experience when they visit us in our showroom, when we invite them for dinners and so on. So we kind of had to come up with a solution in these uncertain times. And usually the way it works, for those of you who don't know, 4 times a year, our entire sales team travels Shanghai, Paris, New York, etc. to sell in our collection. And suddenly we simply couldn't do that anymore. Pre-pandemic, everything in the B2B wholesale experience was very analog. And I don't think that I insult anyone in the fashion industry by saying not only at GANNI, but like in general. I think it still is for a lot of companies, and the only thing that we had at that point in time was an order management system. We couldn't reach our customers, we couldn't really sell the products and tell the stories and engage with them in the way that we wanted to. And with only 6 weeks to come up with a solution, because that was when we had to sell in the next collection, we were in quite a hurry. So very late a Friday afternoon, we called in the entire team, me, the Chief Commercial Officer, Creative Agency Moon, Creative Director Ditte, and we were like, we just need to find a solution for this. What do we do? It was super intense, but our priorities for us were super clear. At that point in time, we were thinking there must be someone out there, like virtual showroom as a service, just plug and play, let's go do that. But we immediately found out that there weren't any. There's a lot of these really good order management platforms, but that's essentially a tool where you can optimize and streamline a process that's already there. So we needed to provide an experience, and that's when we actually decided to create our own space where we could invite customers in, give them the experience that we wanted to, interact with them and stay close to them during these uncertain times. And I think that everyone, when we say virtual showroom, they kind of like, oh, it's this or it's this, but we also found out like there's essentially not a lot of people out there having a virtual showroom, so we didn't know what it was. And we knew that we wanted to stay close to our customers, provide the best possible experience, Also created a very efficient tool empowering our wholesale managers to go through the pandemic. We didn't know whether it was only one time we were going to use this or if it's here to stay, which it showed. But that was kind of it. Most importantly, of course, we had to secure our business because we were facing massive revenue losses if we couldn't do that, and the same thing for our partner. So immediately after that, we called Jonas, one of the managing director at DEPT, and I was like, Jonas, I have a really exciting task for you. You need to create a virtual showroom, digital immersive experience, and he were super excited. And then I said, but you only have 6 weeks. Kind of sets the scene for what you can actually do in 6 weeks, especially those of you here at the audience who work with tech and who work with e-com. You kind of know how cumbersome this can be. But we kind of launched an MVP, and we're going to go more into detail about that. Yeah. But to explain then how we built the solution. With these clear priorities in mind, we at GANNI have what we call our selling ceremony. It's essentially the B2B physical customer journey. What happens from when we send out the invite and how do we actually, everything we do to the minus detail in our physical showroom. That was kind of that defined the element of what we needed to add to the virtual showroom. And then our creative agency Moon came up with, we had this craving for being so close to our customers and make sure that it was like really inviting them in, being personal with them. So we developed for the first virtual showroom a concept around Diete's desktop, so our creative director's desktop, inviting them into this very personal space. On that note, I will say that for every collection we launch, we create an entire new experience. We don't hag with the system that kind of builds it and the elements, but we provide an entirely new experience every season. And just to set the scene for how it works, our wholesale managers book an appointment. They meet up virtually, so it's not that our customers are left alone. It's actually an engaging experience that they go through together. And the experience already starts when you log in. Password gives you a clue to what's on the other side of it, what's the collection built up around. And you land on Diete's desktop, as you see here. This messy vibe with a lot of fun digital elements to kind of set the mood already from the beginning, because it's not just, all about the efficient process and everything. And then when you go into each of the individual elements, it starts with like a private folder where we go in with a letter from Diete explaining about the collections and some pictures from how they actually developed it. So we're actually able to tell the true story about how we brought this to life. Then we go into the lookbook where they can see, and that's, for those of you who work in fashion, something that's super analog. It's like printed and distributed and whatever, but now it's digitized. In one of the later versions, the moving images and everything, so we kind of evolved that as well. But we have the lookbook, give the full overview of what the collection looks like in a heartbeat. Crown jewel of the virtual showroom is the collection folder. And the collection folder kind of corresponds to when the customers move around in the showroom, picks the pieces and look at all the individual styles. In the folder, and it looks very hacked because it's this desktop metaphor, you can go in and click on the individual photos and it prompts like multiple pop-up windows. And it's actually super efficient because it gives a 360-degree overview of the styles. Pack shots, front and back, styled, elevated, more commercial, but also with video. So in a glimpse, they can actually just see what's the variety of the style, compared to what you would actually do when you're in the showroom and you just pick it out and you see it on a hanger. Then there's also a lot of other fun elements, like a music player that plays Diete's favorite music. And we also created this dress-up door where you could take a photo and with key pieces from the collection, dress up and download your image and post it on social media. So we also wanted to create something that they could take away from the experience, because usually when our customers, they visit us in the showroom, it's something that they're really looking forward to. It's one of the highlights of Fashion Week, right? So I think that when you think about what a virtual showroom would look like, you probably don't think that it will look like this. But for us, it's also that it's very branded, it's very on point, it's fun and unexpected, it's exactly just like GANNI, and it's an efficient tool for both our customers, but also for our wholesale managers to work with, and at the same time providing like a super engaging experience. Then after this, customers can go in and actually visit the showroom. Yeah, so essentially, as I said, we kind of evolved the virtual showroom over time. And this was the first version, and it's kind of hacked. It's not a massive backend. It runs on a fairly simple CMS system, but a lot of the development is bringing the experience to life through a lot of front-end development. And you can say that we actually started with building an MVP, and then we build it from there, learning from time to time. And the way that we did it, we actually sat down and asked our customers, like, what do you want? What do you need here? What could we improve? And then we did that going ahead. One of the things that we added was the Rails section, as you see here. It's an important tool for our customers and partners that they can actually see the collection on the hangers. It's something that they use when they're in the showroom because they need to know what it looks like in the stores. We added also a fabric section where they can go in and zoom in on the images. And we optimized, it's not shown here, but what we call our desktop navigator. It's essentially where they can go in and they can see all the information about the products and they can add it to their wish list coming from like e-com, right? But the wish list then transform into their draft order. We also added what you just saw before, a more engaging lookbook with moving images, so not just these static images where you can zoom in. And again, here showing one of the more gimmicky things with the test and so on, really bringing a personal experience to life. From this, and we're still learning, but some of there were kind of like different results from it. But there were, of course, the obvious ones, and then there were some less obvious and quite surprising results from doing this as well. And I think our customers actually turned out to love this. We didn't know whether this was actually going to work or not, but luckily they loved it. And importantly, we were able to save a lot of revenue during the pandemic, both for us, but also for our customers. Like, this helped us through, really. It's also proven to be a more efficient way of working with our customers. A lot of the customers before, they were used to come into like physical showrooms, but now most of them actually prefer to, if they can, visit us, but then they also want the virtual tour because they can see products in a different way and they can work with the collection in a different way. Usually when a partner goes to Paris, they maybe get 15 minutes in the showroom and that's it. And then they kind of like have to place the order based on that. Here they can really sit down and work with it in a more engaging way than like flat line sheets that we would usually send out. Then also, obviously we brought down travel. We don't travel a lot anymore at all. We use this because it is a tool for us to reach our customers, partners globally. Of course, during pandemic we also couldn't. That was why we developed it. But also after it's proven efficient to bring down travel. Same time, we reduced the number of samples that we actually produce, bringing down our CO2 emission, but also cost. So it's both more cost efficient, but also a more responsible way of actually working, which we are super proud of as well. And there's of course some next steps here of using more digitized sample as well, so we can bring it down even further. But for now, we actually created quite a huge impact by bringing down the number of samples we have to produce. Then more surprisingly, which is something that we didn't take into account, but we found that we could actually apply this in other areas of the business. So for example, our PR team used the virtual showroom for press days, where they invite influencers in to review and see the collection, or Vogue Business, for example, to give their review and comment on the collection. So they now also have a virtual space where they can engage with our GANNI community around the world. Also, what we did was we actually ended up using it for virtual B2C appointments. So the store staff would be in the stores or in our showroom, showing the collection on FaceTime with customers, and then they would browse through the virtual showroom to get all of the detailed information and the styling. So we've kind of applied it in multiple areas of the business already. And I think that was kind of how we built it and the results that we got from it. What we definitely also learned is that it is here to stay. And for us, the next steps here is how can we bring this forward even more to our entire GANNI community and create like a true GANNI space and keep evolving on the platform. But also now that the world, hopefully, fingers crossed, is returning back to normal, we need to figure out how we bridge this virtual showroom with the physical experience as well. And what role does the two play now in the future? Because, as I said, everyone can essentially get started with this. Just call Jonas and he'll fix it for you. But you can get started with this in relatively low amount of resources. It seems, super complex, and it is, but it's still an MVP. And then we started there, learning and then building. I would recommend that anyone do that, because then you figure out like what works for us. And then, of course, as I also said, it's not integrated too much to any of our system for now, but now we've gotten like super strong proof of concept. So the next thing is then how do we then create this into an even more efficient tool, integrating it to our existing platforms and develop at least the back end of it as well. Yeah. So that was essentially about GANNI and how we, through the pandemic, developed a virtual showroom in record time, helping both us but also our partners to get through a difficult time, and how the digitalization in the B2B journey in wholesale has definitely speeded up. I hope you liked it. Thank you for coming.